So the next disease is cancer. It is one of the most dreaded disease of human beings. So our body cell growth and differentiation is highly controlled and regulated. So sometimes in cancer cells, these regulatory mechanisms are breakdown. So normal cells show a property called contact inhibition, by virtue of which contact with other cells inhibit their uncontrolled growth. So cancer cells lose this property. Now we are going to learn about tumor and its types. So what is tumor? The cancerous cells continue to divide and give rise to masses of cells called tumors. The tumors are of two types, that is benignant tumor and malignant tumor. So benignant tumor remain confined to their original location. So it causes very little damage. But malignant tumor proliferating to other parts. So it rapidly invading and damaging surrounding cells. So it is the more serious one, and it is the most feared property is metastasis. So moving on to the next slide, the different types of cancers. The cancers are of different types. They are carcinomas, melanomas, sarcomas and leukemias or lymphomas. In carcinomas, the epithelial lining of internal organs or glands are affected. That is about 85% of all tumors. Melanomas, these are cancerous growth of melanocyte, a type of skin cells. Then sarcomas, these are cancers of tissues of mesodermal origin, example bone, fat and cartilage. They are very rare in humans, about 1% of all tumors. Leukemias and lymphomas, these are tumors of the WBCs. So, the important causes of cancers are, cancer causing agents are called carcinogens. The important carcinogens are classified into three categories, that is physical agents, chemical agents and biological agents. Physical agents contains ionizing radiation and non-ionizing radiations. Ionizing radiations are X-rays and gamma rays. The non-ionizing radiations are UV rays, which cause DNA damage. The chemical agents are tobacco and aniline dyes. The biological agents are the cancer-causing viruses that we called it as oncogenic virus. They have genes called viral oncogenes and several genes called cellular oncogenes or proto-oncogenes have been identified in normal cells. So, next slide is diagnosis. So, how to diagnose the cancerous cells? So, first one is biopsy and second one is radiography. Then third one is CT scanning and fourth one is magnetic resonance imaging. And the last one is very important, that is the antibodies against cancer specific antigens are also used for detection of cancer. So the next slide is treatments. Surgery, radiation therapy and immunotherapy are available. So patients given some substances called biological response modifier such as alpha interferons, which activate the immune system and help in destroying the tumor. So the next slide is drug and alcohol abuse. So you know that what is drug abuse? That is a very simple sentence. When the drugs are taken for a purpose other than medicinal use or in amounts or its frequency that impairs one's physical, physiological or psychological functions. So the drugs are classified into three types. The first one is opioids. So the opioid receptors are the central nervous system and gastrointestinal tract. The common name of opioids, we called it as SMAC. And the chemical name of this one is diacetylmorphine. It is white in color, odorless, bitter crystalline compound. It is obtained by acetylation of morphine from the latex of poppy plant, that is Papaver somniferum. So generally it is taken by snorting and injection. So how it works in our body? It acts as depressant and slows down body functions. So the diagram of poppy plant is given here, and the chemical structure of morphine also mentioned here. So the next one is cannabinoids. So the important receptors are found in our brain. So the natural cannabinoids are obtained from the inflorescence of cannabis sativa. So the diagram of cannabis sativa is shown here. So certain other type drugs are obtained from the or produced by various combination of flower tops, leaves and resins of cannabis plants are used. So in this way many drugs are obtained, that is marijuana, hashish, ganja and charas. So generally it is taken by inhalation and oral injection, and it affects the cardiovascular system of body. So in these times the sports persons are also abusing cannabinoids. Moving on to the next slide, that is cocaine or coca alkaloid. So it is commonly called coke or crack, and it is obtained from a plant called Erythroxylum coca, and it is native to South America. So how it works in our body? So it interferes with the transport of neurotransmitter, that is dopamine. So it stimulates central nervous system and induce euphoria and increase energy. So it is generally taken by snorting, and higher dose causes hallucination. So the hallucinogens, the products from plants like Atropa belladonna and Datura are the two plants which produces the products obtained from that plants are hallucinogenic activity. So that is another one is LSD, that is lysergic acid diethylamide. It is obtained from a fungus, that is ergot. Then barbiturates, amphetamines, benzodiazepines and treat mental illness like depression and insomnia. So morphine is a sedative and painkiller, and it is very useful to patients who have undergone surgery. So next one is alcohol. It is also a depressant, and it also affects the central nervous system. So what are the effects of using tobacco? You know that tobacco contains a chemical, that is nicotine. Nicotine stimulates adrenal glands to produce adrenaline and noradrenaline into blood circulation. So these secretion which increases our heartbeat, blood pressure, etc. So smoking causes cancer of lungs, urinary bladder, throat, bronchitis and emphysema also. So tobacco chewing is associated with oral cancer. So smoking increases carbon monoxide in blood and reduces the concentration of heme-bound oxygen. So the next slide is adolescence. So you are in the adolescent age. You know that which period is called adolescent period. So that is 12 to 19 can be considered as the adolescent period. That is the stage from childhood to adulthood. So here it is a time of both disorientation and discovery, and it is certain independence, self-identity. Many adolescents and their peers face tough choices regarding schoolwork, drugs, alcohols and the social life. So this adolescent period is a very vulnerable phase of mental and psychological development of an individual. The next slide is what are the causes of drug abuse. So that is curiosity, need for adventure, excitement, experimentation, then stress and pressure to excel in academics, then perception among the youth that is cool to smoke and use drugs or alcohols, then TV, movies, newspapers, internet also help to promote this perception. Unstable or unsupportive family structures and peer pressure are the main causes of drug abuse. So next slide is addiction and dependence. So with the repeated use of drugs or alcohols, the tolerance level of receptors in our body increases, and consequently they respond only to higher dose of drug or alcohol. So that condition is called addiction. So if the regular dose of drug or alcohol is interrupted, the body manifests characteristic and unpleasant withdrawal symptoms, which can be anxiety, nausea, sweating, etc. So it is called dip. Next slide is drug effects. The immediate effects of drugs or alcohols abuse are manifested as reckless behavior, vandalism and violence. Excess dose can lead to coma and death. A combination of drug or their intake with alcohols leads to death. The most common warning signals of drug or alcohol abuse includes fluctuation in weight, lack of interest in hobbies, then withdrawal and isolation from family and friends, lack of interest in personal hygiene, drop in academic performance, etc. The next slide is misuse of anabolic steroids. So, certain changes occurs in females and males. That is, in females, masculinizations, increased aggressiveness, mood swings, abnormal menstrual cycles, excess hair growth on the face and body, enlargement of clitoris, deepening of voice. In males, acne, increased aggressiveness, depression, reduction in size of testicles, potential for kidney and liver dysfunction, decreased sperm production, premature baldness, enlargement of prostate glands and enlargement of chest. So, prevention and control. So, avoid undue peer pressure, educating and counseling to face problems, stress to accept failures, help from parents and peers, professional and medical help. So, that is all about the chapter, and please focus on replication of HIV, the life cycle of Plasmodium and the diagram of immunoglobulin.